Hi, and welcome to Tim and Joel's Weekly Draw. I don't have anything. No scale for this week, Joel. I wish it was still the Royal Rumble. I've got that, joy hangover. It was so good, like I said it was going to be. And now it's just a regular old week.
I put together an entire week's worth of happenings in the world of wrestling. And I tell you, Tim, think of the intro. Where's my intro, Tim?
I couldn't do it. I looked at your week, and I'm trying to muster the energy to really get excited about it. And there's some good stuff, but it's not going to be the Royal Rumble. And I'm sad.
We're here to make these people enjoy the good stuff.
No, there's some good stuff.
Why are you being all melancholy on me now?
What's wrong with you? The Royal Rumble is so good, and I'm so excited for the road to WrestleMania. So let's talk about the road to WrestleMania.
Okay, well, the road to WrestleMania continues this week on Raw, this coming Monday, as Drew addresses his turncoat friend Sheamus, his best buddy, who last week on Raw, as he turned around, ate a brogue kick. Sheamus telling his friend that he wants his title. His friend saying, if you want that title, you can come and get it. I'm a fan of I'm a fan of the storyline. It's two friends, two men who have held the WWE Championship. One currently does. It's a good, fun story to tell, and it could get really personal. I think we all have a friend that we are jealous of once in a while, aren't we?
Yes, true. Yeah, 100%. I'd kick.
So my question to you, Tim, is when would you do the match? When would you inevitably do Drew versus Sheamus?
That's the thing. I think they stretched it as much as they could. But at this point, there's not enough meat on the bones, really. They were friends for 2 months, which is fine. That's, TV friends for 2 months. I'm sure they've been friends for much, much longer in real life and continue to be. I would do it quick, either on a Raw or Elimination Chamber in 2 weeks, right? So,
of all the chamber match options, I agree with you. The WWE Championship is not one that is long for the chamber. I believe, like you, that Drew versus Sheamus is a one-on-one contest at the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
But then we got to get to Fastlane, and then we have to get to WrestleMania. So I'm wondering, do you insert somebody else? Is it a one-on-one match for Drew down the line? Do we see maybe Keith Lee return to action, who has been away since, before his partner Mia Yim contracted COVID-19, but we haven't seen Keith Lee in about a month. So maybe it's time for, if he's better, Keith Lee to come back and maybe join the fray between Drew and Sheamus as he was before.
Yeah, they're going to have to start building something. Edge is still in the picture, right? So they're keeping that specter in the air. So that is a possibility. But I think Keith Lee would fit in nicely if he's good to go. And if he's not good to go soon, they're going to have to seriously consider somebody else at this point, I think. Because we need to start building something for this match to have any, gravitas to it, So.
For a while, people were waiting to see if Bobby Lashley could be that guy. And we saw Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre back when the WWE was recording in the PC, but it was a different time. It was Lashley and Lana cost him the match, and it was a whole schmaz. And now you got this Hurt Business Lashley who's giving guys amnesia and throwing them over barricades and beating the living tar out of others. And I want to see that Lashley compete for the WWE Championship.
Same. And it seems like maybe they're destined for the dissolution of the Hurt Business. That might be where they're taking things, because they're already, starting to build the discord in the group. But we'll see. They could turn that back around. They could all be friends again soon. So
it could just be a rocky, tumultuous relationship. We've all been through those. Yeah. You know who's in one right now?
Who?
Alexa Bliss.
Oh, yeah, with her demon.
Yes. And last week we saw her Black Bile Bonanza. And while we don't have anything announced officially, I think it's safe to assume that Alexa, Randy, and the remnants of The Fiend will be nowhere further behind than we were last week.
True. Yeah, something's got to happen with that, I feel. So it seems like they've put Edge and Randy to bed, which, again, I think is fascinating. really thought that was going to be the WrestleMania thing, and I'm kind of glad that it isn't. They took it in a different direction, so I'm excited to see what they're going to do with Randy and whatever the Fiend comes back as.
I have a feeling we'll see Edge and Randy again. It'll just be after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It'll be a different expectation, maybe a championship on the line for either side.
Totally.
And finally, because we're just speculating, because Raw only really had the Drew and Sheamus stuff, we have Lana and Naomi's ravishing glow and their rise in the tag team ranks. So I guess really, if I were Lana and Naomi, what would be my game plan going up against Shania Payne once again?
Don't let them get disqualified.
Don't let them put you through a table.
Yeah, basically.
Which is the same as a disqualification. We look forward to Lana and Naomi taking on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler down the line for the Women's Tag Team Championships.
In the future.
In the future. When that's going to be, I assume not too soon.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll put it out there. I think Lana and Naomi this week they'll probably face Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. Rose.
Rhodes.
So to say Rhodes. Or they'll face Asuka and Charlotte. But I think that Charlotte and Lacey Evans, they'll do that whole schmoz. Let's move on because Raw can only offer us so much right now.
Yeah.
AEW. We have a pretty good card in front of us for AEW. There will be more announced as the days come through. But in the main event, I'm excited for this one. It's Falls Count Anywhere. It is anything goes. Kenny Omega teams with Kenta from New Japan Pro Wrestling to take on the IWGP US Champion Moxley and Lance Archer. Whew. It's going to be a good match after we saw Kenta come in and lay out Moxley as the challenge has been made at New Japan Strong, really, but they're calling it New Japan New Beginnings in the USA.
Yeah.
February 26th, it'll be a strong special, Kenta and Moxley for the IWGP US Championship. And meanwhile, you've got Lance Archer on the other side? That was sudden. What do you think of Lance Archer being added to the tag team mix?
Whatever. I don't feel like they've done anything. Lance Archer is being built as a face, and for me, it doesn't make a damn bit of sense. Like, it's just a random turn for me, and like, I don't buy it. Like, I don't think that they've done the storytelling work to make this work for me. Like, they've done it. It's been several weeks now, and it still feels like silly, but whatever. Him as a wrestler, him as a competitor, I think is good. Like, that's cool. It's just narratively, I think AEW just didn't do anything to earn that. So,
do you think that the story has been more about Kingston and his family than it has been about Lance Archer and his turnaround?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and that's the thing. And I don't like. It's just not enough. It's just not enough about Archer at all. So we're looking at Eddie's family and like. They've grown and they've developed, but like Lance Archer is just all of a sudden fighting with someone new. But I don't know anything about who Lance Archer even is. He's cutting promos, but they're not telling me anything other than we're gonna fight, sir. Like, so.
Meanwhile, I wonder if Eddie Kingston and Butcher and Blade and Ali are actually behind him. Do you think there's a chance that we'll see those four kind of team up and get themselves involved in what is an anything goes match?
Maybe might see them. There's a lot of possibilities for a lot of different people to get involved in this match, so they have some options that they could take it in. I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty good match on par with like some of the Inner Circle versus the Elite feuds that we saw a little while back. I think it'll kind of look like similar to that backstage stuff. So excited. That was all great. So.
Meanwhile, where Kenny goes, the Good Brothers can't be far behind, but so are Private Party, who are challenging the Good Brothers 3 days later at Impact's No Surrender for those Impact Tag Team Championships. So I think we're going to expect a lot of schmaz going in through this match.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
For the TNT Championship, you've got Darby Allin taking on Joey Janela. And by the way, in our house, we stan Joey Janela.
We do.
Never forget. I'm assuming TNT realized that this title wasn't being defended weekly, and so they said, hey, should probably make Darby put his title on the line since he hasn't done that since New Year's Smash. And then they were just like, okay, but who's he going to face? Maybe have the guy who had to sit through his ex's wedding last week. Give him the reward of facing Darby Allin.
Of losing to Darby Allin.
Poor Joey.
Yeah, I'd rather see Joey Janela with the strap than Darby, honestly. But there's, with a much larger feud behind them, there's no way that Darby's dropping that belt. So,
well, with Team Taz lurking in the background, maybe there's a chance that we see Joey Janela as the new TNT champion.
I would love that. You know what? Get Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss on Team Taz. And just destroy everyone. Just tear through the AEW locker room. Like, I want that.
I think I'm a fan of this. Badly. Yes, please. Meanwhile, if you want to see Joey Janela and Darby Allin have a knockdown drag-out fight, I recommend checking them out from Suburban Fight Pro. They had an excellent match in 2018. No rules, no ring. It was real good. Yeah. Go and find it if you can before Wednesday. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, we're going to have Jericho and MJF taking on the Acclaimed. Sure.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Cool.
I don't know about you. I'm not a big fan of Jericho and MJF getting the tag shot at Revolution. No, But meanwhile, MJF did rally the troops of the Inner Circle in a closed door meeting without his tag team partner and without Sammy Guevara. So what are your thoughts on MJF and the Inner Circle and the closed door meeting?
Do it so fast. Don't even get to Revolution. Break them all up.
I mean, I'm pretty sure MJF would take the rest of them.
You know what would be a smart move for MJF? Get Sammy Guevara on his team and kick Chris Jericho out. Great. Then they might actually win. And the match might move at a little bit of a faster pace.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you're wondering why the Acclaimed are here, it's because the Inner Circle eliminated both of them in the tag team battle royal last week.
Nice. Heel versus heel. It'll be great.
Not? And finally, we have Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson taking on Pretty Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi. Okay.
Yep. Caesar and Pretty Peter are a tag team as of this upcoming Tuesday, I think.
Sure.
So cool. I don't know who Lee Johnson is.
Well, let me tell you about the main event of NXT. Tim, are you ready for the biggest match, the biggest segment, the biggest anything ever to become on the NXT brand?
Edge announces who he's fighting at WrestleMania.
No, you moron. It's the return of Cameron Grimes.
Oh.
The hat is back.
Okay. Who's he going to wrestle? Are you excited to...
who cares? He's back. That's all that matters. I don't care who he can wrestle a broom and he'll do great. The hat is back.
That sounds incredible, actually. Now I want him to wrestle a broom. Or some inanimate object that he gets caught up in. Like a net. I think a net has some comedy gold to it.
I don't think a net will sell.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Cameron Grimes returns on Wednesday.
That's cool.
Meanwhile,
stuff.
The Dusty Cup semi-final action. We have Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa taking on the grizzled young veterans. That was not me clearing my throat. That was really bad. Yeah. These two had words at the end of NXT this past Wednesday and a little bit of a shoving match. Do you have a prediction for Timothy Thatcher and Ciampa versus grizzled young vets?
Grizzled young vets is my, we've been saying they're going to make it to the finals, so I'm going to stick with that, but I can see that it's not a sure thing. I'll tell you that much. So
there's a world where Thatcher and Ciampa take over the NXT tag division, is what you're saying?
Yeah, weirdly. I don't think that's the right move, but possible.
On the other side of the bracket, we have Legado del Fantasma taking on MSK. We still don't know what MSK means. Mushroom Street Kingdom? Mario Sunshine Kids? Merciful Segment Killers?
Mediocre Super Kick.
No, that's on the other show.
Oh, yeah.
The only real question that I have, as nice as it is to see MSK get their wings and continue to fly in NXT, is it TikTok for Legado del Fantasma?
Hell yeah.
That's in this tournament.
MSK is going to win, go to the finals, 100%. This one I feel like is a sure thing because they've got Legado del Fantasma now embroiled in this feud with Karrion Kross. And it's Santos Escobar versus Karrion, but they're dragging Legado del Fantasma down with them. So
congratulations to Karrion Kross for either reaching 205 pounds or congratulations to Santos Escobar for gaining an extra 10 pounds and getting out of the 205 category. The finals, by the way, will take place at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day on February 14th. Next week, we are going to have our prediction show where we run down the entire NXT TakeOver card and tell you who we think is going to win and what we think will happen. Yeah. On the other side of the bracket is the Women's Dusty Cup. The semis going on. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon are going to team up to take on the Ways Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. The winners of that match will face Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai at the aforementioned TakeOver. So who do you think is going to run up against Gonzalez and Kai next week?
The faces. Shotzi and Ember.
Who are the faces? Who are the faces
here? Yeah, it's Shotzi and Ember are definitely going to beat Candice and Indy.
I hate admitting this, but yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I had the bracket going the other way in my when I did it. I had the way going to the finals against Kaden Carter and her maskless partner, but instead we're going to get the other side, which I'm a fan. I mean, I love Shotzi, I love Ember, so to see them go on to face Gonzalez and Kai, that would be one heck of a treat. Is there anywhere in this world where Gonzalez and Kai take on Hartwell and LeRae?
They'd have to do a turn for the way, and Johnny's no stranger to being the good guy, so. I think they could do it because they're like comedic, but that comedy relies on them being extremely arrogant, which is, heel territory. So I don't know. I think it'd be tough. I think it'd be tough to get there and make it feel like big match stuff,
I do find it very interesting looking at these three teams. Shotzi is relatively new to not just to wrestling, but also to WWE fans. And Ember Moon has been around for a much longer time. It's like a pros versus rookies type of thing.
Yeah.
Not really rookie, but you get it. Same thing with Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Candice has been around not only NXT for a few years, but in wrestling in general for several years, well known. Indy is still up and coming and very young, so same situation there. And then same thing with Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai's been around for a few years, but also very well known coming into the scene. And Gonzalez still getting her name through the WWE system. Yeah. I'm intrigued by these matchups, and I'm intrigued to see which two sets of teams will go on to face each other for the Women's Dusty Cup at Vengeance Day. Let's move on, shall we?
Let's do it.
SmackDown, we got like nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
If you watched Talking Smack, which I know many of you do because it's everyone's favorite show, it's actually really good. Paul Heyman laid out some options for Adam Pearce in order for him to keep his job. Now, number one, Kevin Owens is out of the Universal Championship picture, and Reigns will not allow any more defenses for KO.
Seems fair.
Number two, that's right. Number two, Edge's choice must be Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
That's not really his. That's not fair. That's an unfair stipulation to place on Adam Pearce. That's ridiculous.
Number three, just to put a little more fire under number two, Roman Reigns has demanded that Adam Pearce's release. He has demanded Adam Pearce's release by the end of next week's SmackDown, unless Edge selects Roman Reigns before then.
I think that Paul Heyman should go back to his synagogue friends and figure out what is a reasonable ask and what is not. In terms of
they're all lawyers.
Yeah, but that's exactly. But he isn't, and he sure doesn't seem to know what he can expect to get from people. And it's just dumb. It's dumb.
So I have a feeling that they will not force Edge to make his decision this quickly.
Absolutely.
It feels very rushed, especially knowing that you have 2 months worth of championship matches and, opportunities for other wrestlers to get to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So for Edge to call it, A, looks dumb on Edge, who's a very well-established veteran and champion, and as he said, the ultimate opportunist. And number two, why would you want to tell the story where the championship can change hands and Edge can be facing literally anyone? Why would Edge want to make his claim now? You make the other pay-per-views look dumb.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, with that in mind, we talked about the Elimination Chamber earlier and said that Drew's WWE Championship is not going to be the reason for the Chamber. Roman's his Universal Championship is what we can easily see in the Elimination Chamber. So who do we do? We've got Kevin Owens, of course. This will be his last chance. They might even add a stipulation that if he doesn't win, he's gone, fired, leaving SmackDown, whatever it is. So we'll see Kevin Owens. We'll see, obviously, Roman Reigns, who's the Universal Champion. We'll see Shinsuke Nakamura. We'll see Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, and let's add Jey Uso just to give Roman a little bit of a friendly fire in his own chamber. What do you think? Can we do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Nakamura and Cesaro, obviously, they've been building them. Like you saw again this week, Cesaro beating Daniel Bryan and a little bit of sportsmanship at the end. They're clearly grooming him for some other stuff. Commentary even said, like, this is what you want to have leading into WrestleMania. So he's got an easy entrance into the chamber match. Roman needs to be the chamber match. I feel like his in-ring work needs a little bit of elevation, and this is the right place to put him at this point in time. Nakamura has been built. Daniel Bryan's on his last hurrah run, so he's definitely up there. I can see Roman negotiating to get Jey Uso in the match to have the backup, But who else do we add? We're short one, aren't we?
No, that was six.
KO, yeah, forgot.
Yeah. Now, the other side of it is, we've talked about it on our show, Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring, every Thursday night at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/Tim and Joel Pod. Now, we have Roman Reigns with all of these matches for his Universal Championship, defending it in gimmick matches. We have to keep that up until WrestleMania, where Edge says, no gimmicks, just straight one-on-one. I beat you, I'm the champion, and that's it. And if a straight one-on-one match where Roman can't cheat, Roman can't use any toys, Roman can just lose, is that the story you want to tell?
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. Because he's been dominant for so long, and then after that, you can keep this whole narrative going by having him chase the title again, right? You breathe new life into this story by having him drop it at WrestleMania. Do I absolutely think that Edge needs the title? Not necessarily, but I feel like they're going to go that way anyway. And I think if someone has to, I think it makes more sense to do this matchup. And I think that's a great way to get them there, right? Have Edge just be you and me, mano a mano.
Works for me. Meanwhile, we've got speculation on our part. Bayley will take on Liv Morgan because,
that's what
Ruby
do.
Riott last week.
Yeah.
And that was a good match, by the way.
Yeah,
Bayley and Ruby Riott ended up being an excellent match, especially with Billie Kay, who is a national treasure, by the way, doing her thing. And also, we've got Otis and Gable taking on the Dirty Dogs for the tag titles, or it'll be a number one contendership match, Otis and Gable taking on the Street Profits, with the winners taking on the Dirty Dogs at Elimination Chamber in 2 weeks. What are your thoughts? Is it something you would do?
Something I would do? No, I would do something different. I would build Otis and Gable as more of a tag team to solidify them. So just put them in a tag team match this week that doesn't have championship implications, to at least give them some legitimacy to a number one contendership match. Against who, I don't know, because the roster feels like it's not that deep. But then, yeah, definitely Otis and Gable versus the Street Profits over them match at Elimination Chamber, because that's where we're going. Why the Street Profits have to jump through hoops and nobody else has to is unclear to me, but
because they were champions.
Yeah, I guess
that's the only reasoning I've got.
All right,
and that's all we've got for SmackDown. That's all we've got for the week. Oh my God, Tim, we did it again. We got through an entire week. Tell the kids where they can find you.
Kids can find me at TimStoneP, TimbStonep on Twitter.
You can find us every single week at Tim and Joel Pod, youtube.com/Tim and Joel Pod. It's also in the chat if you're following with us over there. Every single Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's when we go live. We talk about the week in wrestling, kind of a news magazine style. Talk about the news. We talk about the shows. We talk about what we like and didn't like. And we have a lot of fun. So come and join us sometime. Sub to that channel because it's also in the description of this video. Yeah. And you can find me at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. Until then, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, enjoy your week in wrestling. We'll see you next week.